Hello everyone, welcome to this new series of learning SAS and R together with simple examples. Please note that this series is designed for people with basic understanding in SAS programming. You do not have to be a professional. In essence, you will be learning how to execute R, how to manipulate data in R through codes executed in SAS. You will find out more in detail in the following examples. But first, install R. The link is posted in the description below. Next, install RStudio. Again, the link is posted in the description below. Please follow through the instructions for each of the installations. If there is any problem with the installation, do write to me, and I will make a video on how to install R and RStudio. SAS is a language. R is also a language. It feels good to learn new languages, to understand how they differ and where they are similar. Both SAS and R are statistical tools with lots of applications. R today officially belongs to Microsoft, so yes, you can trust it. Let's begin. Take a look at this picture and think of the various interpretations behind this picture. First, an educated mind can cross barriers. Second, lack of exercise makes one dependent on various other factors. So on and so forth. The idea behind showing you this picture is to make you understand and realize the power of interpretation and that of language. So each time you see a code, try to read the code just like you tried to read this picture. See what are the interpretations, and then you can come to the right interpretation yourself. Let's begin with exercise 1. Carefully look at this piece of code. This is an example taken from the official SAS website. There are many components that are embedded within this code. First and foremost, you want to create a dataset named sales. The dataset sales should contain this piece of information. This information is subdivided into name, customer number, and amount. The name and customer number ought to be in character format, whereas the amount variable is a numeric variable. The length statement defines the number of bytes that are to be specified for the variable name. The title statement here gives an official heading for the output. The proc print statement prints the data sales. The sum statement of the amount variable gives you the total of amount. You see this code, this number, this information, the total of this information, and that's all that you need. So we are going to break down these steps and find out how we can translate the same in the R language. This is our RStudio interface. This region is the place where you will be typing your code. This region here is the place where you will be observing the execution of your code. This region here is the place where you will see the data sets being created and all the other attributes of the data set as well as their individual variables. This happens to be a help section amidst the various sections that you have. You can see your files, the plots in case you're executing plot, packages that you have and that you need to install, the help section, and finally the viewer section. These are the questions that we are trying to answer in this particular exercise. The first question being how to create a SAS an R dataset. In simple words, a data frame with records inside. This will cover the data step that you saw in SAS, the input statement, the cards or the data line statement. The second question is how to set the length of the variable name in R. The third question is to how to give a heading to your output. The last question is to find out the total of the variable amount. Let's get to work with this. The first step that you would want to do is to convert your data, which is easily accessible or easily typable, into your RStudio. This code or these records or observations have to be transposed because just like how you write them line wise, you can't write the same way in R. Either you will have to put them into Excel or you will have to use a sort of an alternative to Datalines. So that is exactly what we are going to see right now. We will learn about how to put your data in Excel and then later import that data into your RStudio. But first, let's see the alternative for cards or the data line statement. First, as I said earlier, copy these observations, paste them in Excel. Now they are pasted. Right now we need to convert this text into columns. So under the data tab, click text to columns. Next, click on tab and space together. Click on next. This is how your data will be appearing, which is the right way. And then click on finish. Now you have your data in this manner, separated and distinguished, easily distinguishable. Now your task is to transpose them, which is very easy. Copy your data and then paste special, transpose. This is how you need your data to be appearing so that you can easily paste them inside your R code. Now that you've got your data ready using Excel, it's time to actually type the R code. So we are creating a sales data set. Before that, I want you to understand what is a data frame. Data frame happens to be one of the 4 types of objects that R can function and use it for various manipulations. So a data.frame is nothing but, it's like saying frame my data in this particular manner. I hope that's clear enough. Let's start. Data.frame. So as we saw in the SAS code, the first variable was name. Okay, so let's copy this data, name, and paste it here. Remember that you have, whenever you are trying to put character information, you have to put them in double quotes. And always separate each value with a comma. Done. Your name variable is written now. The next is customer number. After you've completed the name variable, punch in comma. Don't forget that. This is your customer number information. Don't forget to separate the values using comma. This is very, very important. Whenever you're doing a data frame and whenever you are trying to type in all this information by yourself, which is actually a bad idea, you could have done that all using Excel. I'll show you how to do the same by importing data from Excel sheet. It's way easier. But you need to cover this because you need to get yourself started first. The last variable is amount. Copy this information, paste it here, separate them with the required grammar, and there you go. Don't forget to close this bracket with this one. There has to be a closing bracket too. Now your data frame is ready. So this is the answer to your first question, how to create a data set with records inside. And they have to cover the data step, the input statement, the cards, or the data line statement in SAS. Let's go ahead and execute them. Click the run option that you find here, and there you go. You can see the execution happening in this box or the console section, and you can see how the sales dataset is created here with all the various attributes or the metadata right here. Now that we have created the dataset, let's go ahead and look at it, for which you will be using the view option. Remember that the V in the word view is capitalized, and you have to be careful when you are using capitals and when you are not using capitals, because it is capital sensitive, the R programming code, and that should be known. So you simply type view sales, and then in your Windows hit Control plus enter. If you are using a Mac, use Command plus enter. There you go. This is the table that we wanted to create. This is the table, or this is the data set, or this is the data.frame that we wanted to create. If you have come this far, then you really need to tap yourself on the back and say, yes, I've done this. So that's one thing. The next thing that you need to do is also find out what is the total of the amount variable, what is the total sales that have happened, the amount. So we are going to use the sum function for that and say sales dollar. The dollar here attributes not to a character, as in SAS. In SAS you use the dollar symbol in order to attribute some a character in when you're using in the input statement or even in the length statement. But in this case you're using dollar in order to say that sales is tied up or connected with an other variable which is already registered in the interface, or in the let me put it as this way, in the session that you've created. So in this case, as you see, you can see there are three variables that have immediately popped up, and we want to choose amount, and say again command plus enter or control plus enter. There you go. You can see the result now. It is 35,111 and 50. You can say paise or you can say dollars. So we are going to miss deliberately two questions here. We have answered the first question, that is how to create a data set with records inside, and to cover the data step, the input statement, the cards, or the data line statement. And we are going to avoid this question for the time being, and the reason is this. First reason is I really am struggling to find out how to set the length of a variable and its values in the R programming language. In SAS it seems to be quite easier, but in R it seems to be a little difficult. So that is one reason. And the second reason is you actually don't need to. The reason why the length is 20 here, is set to 20 here, because by default, if you observe here, the word Thomas is six letters, and Thomas, then Wu, you have Walters, which is 7, and then you have Christopherson, this is 6 letters, another 9, 12, and 14. You have 14 letters here. By default, it would have slashed it. You know, if you did not give this line, if you just said input name $, it would have slashed it to 8 characters, and you would have only seen Christoph, and you wouldn't have seen Herson. So that is the reason why we are writing this statement length name $20. It both creates a variable in your PDV. PDV is like creating a backbone or a template upon which you will be adding muscle and flesh, let's put it that way. So it also creates a variable, and at the same time it also assigns a particular length. If you need it to be lesser, you can say even 5. It works out either ways. So you can try that for yourself if you have a SAS University edition, and try to run this code all by yourself and see and change the numbers here, play with the numbers here, and you will find it very interesting. In this case, you don't have to worry at all, and the reason is, you see, the name is being printed out properly. There is no the strings are not cut here. So reason being, there is a dynamic allocation of memory when it comes to R programming. So, but still, it is my responsibility to still work on how to set a length of a variable in R. So I will try to work upon that and get back to you at a later time. And also how to give a heading to your output. If you have to go through this, there is a long method in order to cover that topic. It's an entirely new session, so I would also go ahead and say ignore this for the time being. But we will revisit them, these two questions, question number 2 and question number 3, at a later phase. Thank you for watching this series. I hope you have enjoyed working this out. Do send your comments or feedback, or send me a mail if you have a question and you want to work things out, you want to study how SAS works, and more videos upon these. I think we can work them out. Have a good day, folks, and I hope you enjoyed this little session of learning.